Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, good afternoon. We are going to start with what? Human eye. Salivary will test. Salivary, how many eyes you have? 2. Where are they located? On the ventral or the dorsal side? Dorsal. How many eyes are there? 2. And how are they located inside? Sockets. In locomotion I told you, right, Vajlo? And it should show the presence of eye orbit. You remember eye orbit, Vajlo? So if I say this is the eye orbit, then majority of the human eye is present inside the orbit. Only a small part is present outside. Okay? So the human eye, most of the part is present posterior. The small part is anterior. So the NCERT says that our paired eyes are located in sockets of the skull called as orbits. Paired eyes are located in the sockets of the skull, which are called as orbits. Now, the human eyeball is controlled by many muscles around the eyeball. And the eyeball itself, it consists of 3 layers. Okay? The NCERT says the outermost layer is the dash. Loudly. The middle layer is and the innermost layer is retina. This is what you are supposed to learn. In your medicine, you studied them as fibrous tunic, vascular tunic, and the retina. Here we talk about simply as sclera, choroid, and the retina. So, what are the 3 layers of the eyeball? Sclera, choroid, and the retina. So, the human eye will have how many layers? 3. The outermost layer is called sclera. The middle layer is called as the choroid. And the innermost layer is the retina. Okay. We will describe the sclera as it is the outermost thick, tough layer of the eyeball, which is made up of fibrous connective tissues, and it gives shape and protection to your eyeball. It gives shape and protection to your eyeball. It is opaque, light cannot pass through it. So that is the description of the sclera. That it is the outermost. Should I call it anterior or posterior? Posterior. Is it thick or thin? Thick. Okay. It is made up of fibrous connective tissues, and it gives shape and protection to the eyeball. So, what's the function of the sclera? It will give shape and protection to the eyeball. The sclera continues forward. The sclera continues forward. And as it continues forward, it becomes thin, transparent cornea. So So the sclera continues forward as a thin, transparent cornea. Okay? So cornea is the आगे की तरफ thin and the transparent layer of the sclera. Did you understand? So this part, the posterior part, what do you call it? What will you call it? Name it. Sclera. And the anterior part will be called as the cornea. How is the cornea? Thin and this transparent. Okay. The main function of the cornea is majority of the bending of the light. As the light will fall on the cornea, most of the light will be bended by the cornea and put on the lens. And the rest of the bending, refraction, will be done by the lens so that the light falls on your retina. So the cornea is slight anterior bulge, आगे आया हुआ part, which allows the light to get refracted on the lens. So majority of the refraction, is it done by the lens or is it done by the cornea? Cornea. Okay, which is basically a non-keratinized epithelium. That is why if slight changes occur in the shape of the cornea or in the nature of the cornea, it causes eye disorders. Like you must have heard of age-related disorder called cataract, जिसको हम लोग मोती बिंदु बोलते हैं. That मोती बिंदु is also because of what बच्चों? Cornea becoming opaque. Okay. So it's the anterior, thin, and the transparent continuation of the sclera. And what is the main function of it, bachalo? It helps in the bending of light. Now, further, the cornea is avascular. Avascular matlab it does not have blood supply of its own. Okay, that is why corneal transplants are the most successful transplants. Okay, so when I was in school, I used to think that जब वो लोग बोलते थे आई ट्रांसप्लांट होता है तो मुझे ऐसा लगता था आई बॉल पूरा आई ट्रांसप्लांट होता है. ऐसा होता है नहीं. व्हाट डू दे ट्रांसप्लांट? Cornea. So it is avascular, and that makes corneal transplant most successful. What can be the possible reason for that? What is logical behind? Okay. Okay. Yes, Aditya? What can be the reason that it is avascular and that makes it a most successful transplant? Think, Omkar. Loudly. As it does not have any blood supply, वो एंटीजन एंटीबॉडी का जो रिजेक्शन होता है वो सब हो पाएगा वहाँ पे नहीं. तो वो बोलता है कि सर वहाँ पे इम्यून सिस्टम नहीं पहुँच पाएगा कि उसके अंदर वैस्कुलरिटी नहीं. What he means is antibody mediated immunity and cell mediated immunity. ऐसे टाइप्स होते हैं, मैं बताऊंगा. समझा? That is why corneal transplants are very successful. Then where does the cornea get its nourishment from? Partly from the atmosphere it gets the oxygen, and partly from a liquid that is behind. I'll tell you who is that. Okay? That is why even after a person dies, still you can transplant the cornea within few hours. And if you are used to wearing contact lenses and they don't allow the oxygen to go in, then you have eye irritation after a few hours. Because the cornea will take up oxygen from the atmosphere. Correct or not? Hey, make sure. Which layer of the eyeball are we discussing? Cornea. How is it? Why are corneal transplants successful? Yes, Siddharth, why are corneal transplants successful?
Because the blood vessels are not present, so antigen rejection is not possible.
Correct. Okay. Then the cornea is covered by a thin membrane. The fifth one. What are the fifth one? Conjunctiva. And the infection of the conjunctiva is called as conjunctivitis. जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं ना आँख आया, pink eye. That is basically a condition which is called as conjunctivitis. So is the layer clear, everybody? Got my point? So what are the three layers of the eyeball? How did I describe the sclera? It is thick. Made up of what? What is its function? And anterior becomes transparent. And that part is called as the cornea. The cornea allows the bending of. See? Cornea is covered by conjunctiva. Its infection is called as conjunctivitis. The middle layer. Who is the middle layer, Bachulo? Choroid. Can I say the choroid is the middle thin bluish layer. It is highly vascular and it covers posterior 2/3 parts of the eyeball from inside. Okay, right? Children, did you follow my point? So, how did I describe the choroid? Middle layer. Color क्या बोला मैंने? And highly vascular. When there is a lot of vascularity, मतलब वहाँ पे arteries और capillaries, blood vessels होंगी कि नहीं? और blood vessels की coats होते हैं ना, coats. इसको ऐसे color कौन सा दिखाई देता है कुछ? Bluish color. And another thing I told you is it is thin and it covers the posterior 2/3 parts of the eye. So the choroid will be described as it is the middle thin bluish layer which is highly vascularized. Okay, and it covers the posterior 2/3 part of the eyeball. Anteriorly, आगे की तरफ, as the choroid moves forward, आगे की तरफ. Can I say the choroid has enlarged anteriorly? The choroid has thickened. What is the word NCERT uses? It becomes thick. Who becomes thick? Choroid. The choroid anteriorly becomes thick, and as it becomes thick anteriorly, it is called as dash. Ciliary body. And then the ciliary body continues forward. Look here, everybody. The ciliary body is continuing. What did I say? Forward. And that results in the formation of the iris. The ciliary body continues forward. And that results in the formation of the iris. So what is the posterior thin two-third part called loudly choroid. Anteriorly becomes thick, and it is called ciliary body. And the ciliary body continues forward as the iris. So what did I say? The choroid thickens in the anterior region and forms the it forms the ciliary body, and the ciliary body continues. And what is happening there? गिरा क्या? And the ciliary body continues forward as the iris. इतना गया डोके में तुम्हारे? इतना डोके में गया? हाँ? ऐसे जिंदा है ना सब लोग? हाँ? खाना खाने के बाद बहुत ज़्यादा नींद आ रही है। गाना गाऊं? हाँ। ये कौन है? लेंस। वो हवा निकालने की जरूरत नहीं। ये कौन है? स्क्लेरा। ये कौन है? कॉर्निया। उतना सा रीजन को जूम इन करता है ना। फिर ये कौन है? कोरोइड। अब ये कौन है बच्चों? सिलियरी बॉडी। और ये कौन है? आइरिस। Hello, Lokia. Now let us focus on the ciliary body. Some points extra, but for boards. Need that much. Look at the ciliary body. Are you looking at a ciliary body? Do you see it as finger-like processes? These are called ciliary process. Okay? And behind the ciliary processes, there are these muscles, meridional and all. These are called, what do you call them? Ciliary muscles. Did my class follow up to here? Give me a yes or no? These ciliary process, they secrete a liquid called aqueous humor. क्या कहते हैं इसको? Aqueous humor. What have I kept my finger on? Cornea. Who is this? Lens. And who is this space? Yes. It is between the cornea and that is called the aqueous chamber. It is filled with aqueous humor. So it secretes the aqueous humor in the what would you? Aqueous chamber. And that will protect your lens from desiccation, that is drying up. सूखने से बचाए. Hello, Lakshar? There. Further. Shall I continue? The ciliary body is made up of ciliary muscles. And look at the ciliary muscles. Do you see through another muscles called suspensory ligaments? They are connected to the capsule of the lens. Your lens is made up of a protein called crystallin and is covered by a capsule. ये बाहर का लेयर कौन है? कैप्सूल. और ये पूरा प्रोटीन से बना हुआ है. So do you see the ciliary muscles through the suspensory ligaments are connected to the capsule of the lens. एनाटॉमी समझा? क्या बोला मैंने? बुक रिपीट करेंगे आप?
ligaments cover the capsule of, form the capsule of the lens.
So can I say it is the ligaments which hold the capsule, that is the lens, in its proper place, position, by joining them with the ciliary muscles. Did you understand this line? Hey, Shruti Patel. What did I say? It is the suspensory ligaments which hold the lens in its proper position by connecting it to the ciliary muscles. Okay? And these ciliary muscles are controlled by your brain, by the autonomous nervous system, which works voluntarily or automatically. Voluntarily or automatically? Automatically. So ये जो ciliary muscles का contraction relaxation होगा, आपकी इच्छा अनुसार होगा कि खुद ब खुद होगा? So they will adjust the shape of the lens so that the image always falls on the retina. This is called power of accommodation. Power of accommodation. That is the ability of your lens to change its shape, size, with respect to the distance of the object from the observer. So if I am looking at a nearby object like Nandini, what will happen? The size will change. The shape will slightly change. If I look at Prachi, who is a faraway object, what will happen? The shape and size of the lens will slightly change. So who will control this? The suspensory ligaments, which are connected to the ciliary muscles. The ciliary muscles are connected to your autonomous nervous system. तो अगर मैं हर्ष की तरफ देखूं, पहले मैं वॉच में देखा, फिर हर्ष की तरफ देखा, तो ये लेंस का जो एडजस्टमेंट हुआ, उसमें कोई इच्छा अनुसार करोगे, खुद ब खुद हो गया। क्योंकि वो कैसे कंट्रोल है? ऑटोमेटिकली। समझ में आया सबको? लेट्स बढ़े आगे चलो। क्या कहा मैंने यहाँ पे आपको? That what did I say? The which ligaments? Suspensory ligaments. आगे क्या कहा? The suspensory ligament keep the lens in proper position by connecting with the ciliary muscles. Okay. And what does the ciliary body continue forward as? Iris. It continues forward as the iris. ये जो view है eyeball का, ये कौन सा view है? Front view है कि lateral view है? तो अगर मैं front से देखूँ ना, कहाँ से देखूँ मैं? Then the iris will appear as a muscular diaphragm, muscular partition, with a hole in the middle. A hole in the middle. Okay? So if you are in South Bombay, you call it donut. If you are in Dahisar, you call it mendu vada. Okay? If you want a Sobo accent, it's a donut. Okay? Or here we will call it as a mendu vada, like a mendu vada. You know mendu vada? Not the banana vada. Okay. So how is the iris? It is the muscular partition, and the center it has a opening, and this opening is called as the pupil. Pupil. And surrounding the pupil, the iris ka muscles can either be circular There is one type of muscles called circular muscles, and the other type of muscles are called radial muscles. And the circular muscles are actually sphincters, and the radial muscles are dilators. So if the muscle of the iris, then that maintains the size of the pupil, and that decides how much light is going to enter into your eyes. So under sympathetic nervous system, fight and flight, the circular muscles, the radial muscles will increase the size of the pupil. Parasympathetic nervous system will constrict it with the help of what, Uchiro? Sphincters. I hope you got. And it is the iris which is called the colored portion of the eye. So if I look at Mugda's eyes, her eyes are green. No. What is the color of your eyes? Brown. She wants to call it brown. Okay. So she is brown eyed. So what gives her brown eye color? Iris. Anushka's eyes is hazel color. No. Everybody's eyes are white. This color of the eyeball, not the eyeball, color of the eyes. कौन बोलता है ना? नीली आंखें, भूरी आंखें, कुछ बोलता है ना अलग-अलग. वो किसके वजह से रहता है कलर? Iris. It's a colored portion of the eye. Okay. Got my point? European people have got those. Jet. What? See many eyes? Know all the colors? So what does the iris show the presence of a pupil? Pupil comes from the word pupa. Pupa means little doll. तो अगर आपके फ्रेंड के आंखों में देखोगे तो आप खुद को इतना छोटा सा देखो. That is the गुड़िया. अगर आपके फ्रेंड के आंखों में देखोगे तो कभी भी देखो मिरर में भी देखते हैं ना एकदम नजदीक से, तो खुद को देखते हैं ना छोटी सी गुड़िया. अब गुड़िया नहीं है. So उसको बताना जरूरी है आप लोगों को, गुड़िया समझ पड़ेगा. And then there will be gender confusion. US में चलता है, so you know that gender identity. Okay, so I don't want to have to start here also. Did you get all the points, guys? So what did I tell you about the iris? Iris is a muscular diaphragm partition and is the colored portion of the eye. And I said it has an opening. And what is the opening called, Uchilo? The opening is called as the pupil. और फिर थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा बताया मैंने कि वो कितने टाइप के मसल्स है बच्चों? दो. डायलेटर्स और स्फिंक्टर्स. डायलेटर्स प्यूपिल की साइज को बड़ा करते हैं और स्फिंक्टर्स को छोटा करते हैं. ठीक है, तो काफी बात बताया है और अभी भी रेटिना बाकी है. एक बार रिवाइज कर लेते हैं उसको. हाँ, पॉज करते हैं. कैसे रिवाइज करेंगे बताओ? Is the which layer of chalo? Innermost layer. Right? And the innermost layer of the retina, the innermost layer, that is the retina, is further divided. Now you know what I did? Pay attention here, you don't write. I removed the retina to observe it under the microscope. So the retina is further divided into two parts: the outer retina and the inner retina. Now this what I have drawn is the outer retina, which is called as the outer पिगमेंटेड रेटिना, क्या कहते हैं उसको?
Outer pigmented retina.
Outer pigmented retina. And the rest that I am going to draw now is called as the inner nervous retina. So the retina was divided into two parts, the outer pigmented and the inner nervous. Now we are talking about the inner nervous. Now, the inner nervous retina is made up of different layers. Now, this first layer that I have shown is called as the photoreceptor cells. क्या कहते हैं उसको?
Photoreceptor cells.
Photoreceptor cells. Followed by the bipolar neurons. And the innermost layer is called the ganglion cells. The innermost layer is called as the ganglion cells. Okay, so we have a layer of photoreceptor cells, then the bipolar neurons and the ganglion cells. What are the three layers? Photoreceptor cells, bipolar neurons, और भी कौन से मेडिसिन में आप पढ़ोगे? आउटर प्लेक्सिफॉर्म, इनर प्लेक्सिफॉर्म, अमाक्राइन सेल, बहुत सारा अंतर आता है. तुम्हारे लेवल पे हम लोग ऐसे पढ़ाते हैं कि आउटर पिगमेंटेड लेयर है और दूसरा कौन सा लेयर है बच्चों? इट इज द इनर which layer? Nervous layer. And the inner nervous layer is made up of photoreceptor layer, bipolar neurons. Now focus on the photoreceptor cells, and you will see that the photoreceptor cells are of two types. Look, as the photoreceptor cells are synapsing with the bipolar neurons, look at this end. It is like a rod, and this is like a core. Okay, so we have got two types of cells, rods and cores, and there are about 1200 lakhs rods cells and about 65 lakhs of cone cells. So the number of rod cells in human beings is very high. So what's my point? So your photoreceptor cells are of how many types, which you know? Two types. What are two types? Rod cells and cone cells. Who is more in number? Rod cells. And the rod cells are very sensitive to light. Okay. So they help you to see even in dim light. Okay. Whereas the cone cells are active and they help you to see different colors in full bright light. So अंधेरे में देखने में आपको rod cells help करते हैं. जिसको हम कहते हैं स्कोटोपिक विजन, और कोन्स के विजन को हम कहते हैं फोटोपिक विजन। जब पूरी लाइट चली जाती है, इफ यू आर इन द वॉशरूम इन द नाइट एंड लाइट गया फॉर few seconds, you'll not be able to see anything, but after that gradually you are able to figure out where the different parts are, what does it look like, but you can't tell me the color of your bucket. But yes or no? No, because colors can't see, but you are able to see. You know where the door is, you know where the tap is, isn't it? So who gives you that ability to see in this darkness? Rod cells, because they are sensitive to light. So even if there is little bit of light, it causes their bleaching. Bleach हो जाता है. Okay? तो जिसको सब लोग दिखाएंगे. लेकिन कोन्स को ब्राइट लाइट चाहिए. तब जाके आपको क्या दिखाई देता है? अलग-अलग कलर्स. ठीक है? हाँ सिद्धार्थ. Does all. So you have got two types of cells. What are they? Rods and cones. And rods helps us to see in dim light. So I am calling it as what would you know? Scotopic vision. And cones help to see colors. So what should I call the vision? Photopic. So there is a scotopic vision and photopic vision. The rods are made up of a protein called rhodopsin. क्या कहते हैं इसको? Rhodopsin. The rhodopsin is also known as the visual pupil of the eye. Okay? And it is made up of the protein part which is called as opsin, and a non-protein part is called retinal. So rods are made up of a pigment called as rhodopsin. Rhodopsin is also called as the visual purple of the eye, and it is made up of two parts, opsin and retinal. What my point? And this retinal is an aldehyde derivative of vitamin A. This retinal is an aldehyde derivative of whom? Vitamin A. And vitamin A का precursor कौन है? बीटा कैरोटीन, जो आपको किसमें से मिलेगा? गाजर से. So if you eat a lot of carrots, what are you provided with? Beta carotene. And the beta carotene is a precursor for vitamin A. And the vitamin A will form retina that will help you to see in darkness. So what do you think if somebody has a deficiency of vitamin A? That person will suffer from night blindness. If you have a deficiency of vitamin A, it will affect the synthesis of the retina. तो rhodopsin के synthesis में affect होगा, ultimately आपका night vision पे फर्क पड़ेगा. आया ये बात समझ को? Every builder, हाँ? Then the next is the cones. Cones are made up of iodopsin. उसके अंदर तीन अलग-अलग टाइप्स होते हैं. Cones is specialized for red light, blue light, and what? Green light. Equal stimulation of all the three cones will give you the perception of which light, which is white light. Okay. So, what are the cones made up of? The cones are made up of iodopsin. Which type of vision do you give? Photopic or Photopic. कौन सा विजन देते भाई? Photopic. कितने कलर्स के कौन से? तीन. बोल गया. What are they? And when do you see white light? When there is an equal stimulation of both. So equal stimulation of all. Got it? Now these photoreceptor cells, they synapse with whom? Bipolar neurons. The bipolar neurons will synapse with whom? Ganglion cells. And look all the axons of the ganglion cells. These are the axons of the ganglion cells. Do you see the axons are coming together? And they result in the formation of a nerve over here. And what is that nerve called? Optic nerve. So the axons will come together to form the optic nerve. Clear everybody? Do you follow up to here? So retina is outermost layer, innermost layer. Innermost. And the retina is further made up of two layers. What are two layers? Outer pigmented retina, inner nervous. The outer pigmented retina is made up of a pigment called melanin, which makes your retina pitch black in color, because that black darkness is required for the development of that image. फोटोग्राफी में जो इंटरेस्ट रखते हैं उनको पता है कि जब फोटोग्राफिक फिल्म डेवलप की जाती है तो उसको डार्क रूम में डेवलप किया जाता है. बराबर है? नहीं, किसको इंटरेस्ट है फोटोग्राफी में? टिकटॉक वाला फोटोग्राफी नहीं, प्रॉपर फोटोग्राफी नहीं. तो अगर एक पर्सन है who suffers from a genetic disorder called albinism, albinos जिसको कहते हैं, तो उनका मेलानिन सिंथेसिस नहीं रहता, तो उनको देखने में भी प्रॉब्लम, because it is affecting the outer pigmented retina. The inner nervous retina further made up of how many layers? 3 layers. What are 3 layers? Photoreceptor cells, bipolar neurons, and photoreceptor cells are rods and cones. Who are more in number? Who are more light sensitive? Rods. Even in little bit of light, they'll give you vision. But will they be able to show you colors? No. That is the function of cones. Cones are made up of pigment called iodopsin. Rhodopsin or iodopsin? Iodopsin. Iodopsin. How many types of cones are there? 3. What are they? Through equal stimulation of all the 3 cones will give you white. Light ka understand. Okay. The rod cells are made up of a protein called rhodopsin. Rhodopsin is made up of 2 parts. What are the 2 parts which show? Opsin and retinal. Correct? Clear up to everybody. Retinal is the derivative of vitamin A. Where do you get the vitamin A from? Beta carotene. Beta carotene ka rich source is what? Thalamus. Then the photoreceptor cells, they will synapse with the bipolar neurons. Bipolar neurons will synapse with ganglion cells, and the ganglion cells, the axons will come together to form the optic nerve, and this optic nerve will finally travel to your visual cortex. Yeah, the visual cortex which show optic lobe is a vision area. आया सवाल तो सबको यहाँ. So quickly revise. What are 3 layers of the eyeball? Who gives shape and protection? Cornea is dash, dash and dash. And anterior part. Vascular or avascular? Avascular. What are the main functions? Refraction of light on the lens. Covered by conjunctiva, infection is called conjunctivitis. Vascular or vascular? Or vascular. Most successful transplants are corneal transplants. The middle coat is called the choroid. The choroid is dash in color. It is highly vascular. Correct, everybody? It covers the two-third part. Anteriorly it becomes thick, and that part is called as the and the ciliary body continues forward as the and the ciliary body shows ciliary processes and the ciliary processes secrete aqueous humor and the ciliary muscles are connected to the suspensory ligament and to the lens. That time I told you the power of accommodation. Hello? Then iris is described as a muscular partition, and the hole in the center of the iris is called pupil, and it is controlled by the muscles of the iris. Which part is called the colored portion of the iris? Iris is the colored portion. Okay. Then now we'll focus on the blind spot. किस पे focus करें चलो लोग? Blind spot. Now what is this blind spot? Which spot is called the blind spot? Okay. Now if you have a spherical body, this is the spherical body. Okay. I am standing like this. So this side will be set anterior, and this will become the posterior. So this is the spherical body. It's a spherical body. This one. So now this spherical body has got anterior and posterior part. So I am talking about the posterior pole of the eyeball, not the anterior. Which pole? Posterior. You understood what I am talking about? Front or back side? So I said that posterior of the eyeball. There, what I see is near to the exact posterior pole, I see that there is a region where there are no rods, no cones. Okay? And it is a place where the optic nerve will exit the eyeball and the retinal blood vessels will enter the eyeball. तो वो एक ऐसा रीजन है जहां पे फोटो रिसेप्टर सेल्स नहीं है. तो अगर वहां पे लाइट गिरेगा तो will you be able to see? So that is why it is called what Uchilo? Blind spot. What my point? Did you understand the blind spot? And on the posterior pole, but lateral to the blind spot, there is a spot which is called as the yellow spot. Okay? And this yellow spot, I just highlighted the yellow spot. So, okay. This is re everybody. Give yes or no?
Yes.
This whole area is called as the yellow spot or the macula lutea. What is the whole area called? Yellow spot or the macula lutea. So this is the yellow spot. The whole V is the yellow spot or the macula lutea. And the center of the yellow spot, is called as, fovea centralis. I have also there. So what is this whole area called? Yellow spot. And which is the fovea centralis? Central. And the fovea centralis is the place for best visual acuity, best resolution. Okay, when the image falls on the fovea centralis, we see the clearest. What do I point? So that is the place for best clear image. That is called the best visual acuity. if I wear Nandini's glasses, now what will happen is my cornea will bend the light rays, the lens will bend the light rays, but already I am wearing an artificial lens. So don't you think my cornea and the lens will not be able to focus the image on the right place, that is the fovea centralis. So we'll be able to see clearly, or we'll just start seeing blurred, blurred. So even my brain will try the toughest, hardest कि नहीं इमेज फोबिया भी गिरना चाहिए कि चूंकि मैंने गलत चश्मा पहन लिया है मुझे कैसा दिखाई देगा, धुंधला दिखाएगा। वही अगर आपका नंबर बड़ा और आपने निकाल दिया तो आपको भी धुंधला दिखाएगा, because your brain is trying the hardest to focus in on the fovea centralis, but now you are missing your lens which were helping it to focus. So always your brain tries to focus the image where? Dux will tell us. Yeah, Dux. What is the fovea centralis? बीच में ये ऐसा दिखा रहा है। अच्छा कौन सा वाला पढ़ रहे हो fovea centralis का? उस पे ये वाला, this is the fovea centralis. बराबर है कि नहीं है? Yes or no? Yes. Shall I continue? Then so you have got how many spots? 2 spots. I can easily locate my blind spot. Like I'll take a book and I'll make a circle and a square. I close one of my eyes and I am focusing on the square, but I can see the circle also. But as I start bringing the book towards my eyes, then at a particular point my right eye is totally focused on the square. I can't see the circle at all. So where is the circle falling, Muchilo? Blind spot. Okay? Blind spot matters a lot when you are driving, Muchilo. समझ में आया मेरा बात? Because if you are looking at the side view mirror from one eye, it is possible that something can fall on your blind spot. There is always a blind spot for a driver. That is why before taking a right or a left turn, you are supposed to use all the 3 mirrors. Okay? बाहर का mirror, left का mirror, फिर अंदर का जो rear mirror होता है वो लिपस्टिक लगाने के लिए नहीं है, उससे तुमको ब्लाइंड स्पॉट पीछे दिखाई देगा बराबर। समझ में आ रहा है? What is the yellow spot also called as? Macula leucea, and the center it shows the presence of what? Fovea centralis. Anatomy समझ में आ रहा है सबको? Then look at the space between the lens and the retina. Which space are we talking about? The space between the lens and the retina. Please, speak up. Come on. Apical dominance is only lateral one. Pata, so so, Turti, alive. You have survived today now. आगे बढ़ते हो बच्चों? हाँ. So which space are we talking about, kids? We are talking about the space between the lens and the retina. Which space? Lens and the retina. What is the space called? Vitreous chamber. And it is filled with a jelly-like fluid. It's actually a mucoid connective tissue, a jelly-like fluid, which is called as the vitreous humor. There is something interesting about the vitreous humor. Your aqueous humor, na, It is produced again and again throughout your body, but not with the vitreous humor. And the importance of the vitreous humor is, if this padka is the retina, the vitreous humor will exert a pressure so that the retina sticks to the choroid. So who is the whiteboard? Choroid. Who is the padka? What is my hand ka pressure? Vitreous humor ka pressure. So during an accident, if some sharp object, makra dida dhyan de, if the sharp object enters into your eyeball and the vitreous humor is leaking, the pressure goes away and the retina can tear, can cause permanent blindness. So during accidents, during an eye injury, the doctor always looks out for leakage of the vitreous jelly, because that is not produced again and again. That will decrease the intraocular pressure and that will cause the tearing of the retina and cause permanent blindness. That is how important it is. Who? Vitreous? I have also ओमकार, तो थोड़ा रीडिंग करते हैं। तो यार, थोड़ा के देख लीजिए। देखो जरा, एक बार गो थ्रू करता हूँ मैकेनिज्म ऑफ विजन स्टार्ट करने से पहले। अब चलो इसको पॉज कर दो।